Let's get on to the first point.
Oh, okay, we haven't even got on the first point.
No, we haven't.
Hopefully this has been good stuff.
No, well, we've been talking stories, and stories are a basis of, what people can assimilate to themselves, and, really work on themselves, or acknowledge about what happens to other people. It might be a reflection of themselves, and that's what we've been hearing today. So, really thinking about what is that attachment to fear. The fear is a big one.
Yeah, as Tony Robbins says, the other Tony says. And, we talked about it. So the attachment is, we did talk about this, it's the experiences, it's the childhood, it's the limiting beliefs that parents impose on us as children, it's the news, it's our own past experiences. Again, let's talk about the ice cream shop. So I had an ice cream shop. I know that everyone gives me a hard time about ice cream, and that's cool.
Something because you talk about it so much.
Yeah, well, because I love it. But here's the thing. We had an ice cream cafe, and it was an absolute disaster for us, and we lost $100,000 in 9 months, right? And at the time, incredibly hurtful. Now, I'm going back, this was in 2004 and 5, so a long time ago. Incredibly hurtful for us, but it was a disastrous experience. Now, for a lot of people who lose that sort of money in business, they may tell themselves that I'm no good at business, right? And so for me, for a while, yes, that's true, but I wouldn't have been able to do what I do today, and I have multiple businesses today, if I didn't push through that issue that happened. But a lot of people have a bad experience, and they say to themselves, because that happened to me once, it's going to happen to me for the rest of my life. And what I say to people is, your past does not need to equal your future. And so, yeah, that happened to me, and there's a whole range of reasons why that happened to me, and I understand why it happened to me, and I'm better for the experience. I'm poorer for the financially poorer, but I'm richer for the experiences that I had, and it's also helped shape me to who I am today, but I've been able to push through that negative or poor experience, and I'm sure all of us have similar. Sorry, mate.
I guess in terms of financial, that's a big one. Like, obviously I'm working in property, there's big fears around financial decisions that people make, and when we're getting into investing, people are putting down the commitment of having a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 property. Now, you've said about making mistakes in business and making failings. How many times, Tony, do you go again before you give up?
Well, I don't give up. So that's the first thing. So, and how many times? There's two.
This is the big one, right?
There's two questions there. How many times do I go again? Every day. Every day I make mistakes, some big mistakes, some small mistakes, varying sizes, but guaranteed that I'll make mistakes each and every day. But here's the thing, if you're not putting yourself out there making mistakes, then you're not trying hard enough.
No, skin in the game.
Right?
Get some skin in the game.
And so it's about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, whether that be in starting new business, whether that be, and again, today I'm not making massive mistakes all the time, although sometimes I do, but it's about constantly make mistakes. For example, we might do a social media post that doesn't resonate. We might do a paid advertising that doesn't resonate. They're mistakes. Now, it's not that's a mistake and it's going to cripple me and I can never move forward. It's take the lesson, how do we refine that? And it's the constant, and the reason that we do it, and I say we because I'm talking about my team, the reason we do it is because we've got a bigger goal for ourselves. Something bigger is in front of us and it's drawing us towards it. It's like a magnetic force, and I feel that I'm being pulled towards it. I'm going to have mistakes. That's the reality. I'm preparing for a presentation. I've got 2 presentations this week, and I was doing it yesterday. You may see that they have the journey of business, and there's 2 graphs, and one is a straight line, and the other is this line that sort of zigzags all over the place and squiggles and whatnot. And that's the reality. People go into business and they think that it's going to be this straight linear line, it's going to be smooth sailing, and it's like, you know what, that's BS. It's up, down, backwards, down, 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 up, down, and that's the reality of it all. And so you need to be focused on the journey. The journey is what is the key here, the journey. We have a journey, we have a goal for ourselves, and that's what we're incredibly focused on, and that's what keeps us moving forward each and every day. Here's the other thing. There's only 3 guarantees in life. People talk about 2, right? So I have a third. The 2 that everyone talks about is death and taxes. The third guarantee, which I talk about, is that if I give up, then I guarantee myself that I will never, ever, 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 ever achieve my goal. If I don't give up, if I keep going, I'm not guaranteed of achieving my goal, but I give myself half a chance. And so that's the way that I look at it. I look at it as if I stop, guaranteed that it'll never happen. But if I keep going, or when I keep going, then I'm half a chance of being successful.
Kamal, good to have you on. And Tracy says, fear is the acronym.
Yep.
False experiences appearing real.
Yeah, false experiences. I've heard of a slightly different, Tracy, false evidence appearing real. The same stuff. It's all made up. And in the word belief, so we talk about limiting beliefs, of which fear is one, in the middle of the word belief is a three-letter word. It's lie. L-I-E. It's lie. It's BS. It's a lie that you're telling yourself. It's a belief that you've got. And here's the thing. You can create positive, empowering beliefs just as quickly as you can create BS, limiting beliefs. So it's about why not create other beliefs for yourself?
Well, talking about that fear, financial fears, because it's a big one for people. I know in terms of when I volunteer at Lifeline, and I remember hearing some stats years ago about the biggest stresses that people have are actually financial. Not wanting to, thinking about buying their own home and having safety and security around that, and then looking to increase their wealth and the fears around that. Because once people have bought a property, and they may have bought an off-the-plan unit in Brisbane CBD, Sydney CBD, Melbourne CBD, whatever, and it has failed for them, they'll never go back to property again. So, what would you say around the financial fears for people and, taking some educated risk in towards getting into property investment or looking to increase their financial or being a better money manager?
Sure, there's a couple of things. So one is, what is it that you actually want? So if you want to create financial freedom for yourself, or if you want to have a good retirement, then you're going to have to take some risks. Putting your money in a bank at 1% return is just not going to do it for you. So that's the first thing. The second is, go back to the saying that I said earlier. Your past does not need to equal your future. We have all of us, if we all truly looked in the mirror, have made an enormous number of mistakes. Do those mistakes need to define you? I'm going to argue they don't. So don't let them. They happen. Yes, they're mistakes. Take the lesson. Be better for it. I talked before about the fact that going through and losing that money that I did in my ice cream store helped me become incredibly rich. Not rich financially, but rich from a knowledge point of view, from an experiential point of view, from a resilience point of view. There were so many wonderful, wonderful things that I got out of that experience. Like, I'm not going to BS you. It hurt. Like, it hurt to lose that sort of money. I mean, that's a lot of money today. I mean, that was a lot of money 15 years ago to us as a family. But it's also about the positives that I got out of it, and the gratitude that I got out of it, and the things that have set me up to be who I am today.
What about Kamal? He goes, also remember those around you can pull you down, but they can also lift you up, depending on who those people are. If it's someone like Tony and myself, the lift is up.
Yeah, 100%.
If you can bear with us, I guess, in terms of, finding that higher energy, finding those people that are going to be more positive than a sense of other people that are going to be negative. That's where, and if you can withstand that, because some people don't get, that's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
I don't know if anyone saw it when it was driving past, a little bit of like a solar car or something like that, a little electric car.
Maybe electric or something.
Yeah. Anyway, that aside, a little bit distracted there.
So it's about finding your herd, right? So as humans, we're a herd mentality. We stick with each other. We love safety in numbers. Again, it's safety, survival, etc. We want to be in the pack. Speaking of safety, almost got run over. But it's about, if you're not happy with the herd that you're in, if they're bringing you down, find a new herd. Now, that's easy to say, because here's the reality. A lot of people that bring us down are those that love us the most. Those that are closest to us. Our family and our friends are the ones that are potentially bringing us down.
It's tough.
These are not easy conversations. Take it from my perspective, back in 2015 when I said to people that I was going to leave a high-paying job. I'd been to university, I got myself into a high-paying job, we were affording a whole lot of things as a family, and I said I'm going to throw all that away and go on my own. Well, I don't have long enough, maybe when we do our 24-hour live, even that's probably not long enough, to talk through all of the conversations that I had with parents and with wife and with family and friends and all of the above. But I had a bigger purpose. I was very clear on what I wanted. I was very clear that I wasn't happy where I was, and something had to change. So people thought, well, there's all this money that you're getting. And it's like, okay, but I'm not happy. I'd given away my soul. I was incredibly unfulfilled, and I knew in my heart that something had to change. And that, to me, was far bigger than the opinions of those closest to me. And so, hence, I am where I am
It's a big
today.
question for everyone. Are you giving away your soul? And that maybe that's a topic for next week.
Well, maybe I'd love to talk about it, but the reality is that I'm going to suggest that the majority of people do, Luke. And this is a real look yourself in the mirror conversation. Right?
I think Jeff said that earlier.
Yeah, look yourself in the mirror, because it's you are potentially doing that. See, here's the thing: we have one life, and I believe it's all about happiness. But true happiness. What is the true happiness for you? And it's about really listening to your heart. And I have many sayings for those who follow me. Another one is...
It's a rock sex on that one.
May your shoes follow your heart. Get clear on what your heart wants, and then walk in that particular pathway, that particular journey towards that. And that's what it's about for me each and every day. When my feet hit the floor, I'm up. I'm into it. I love it. I don't do snoozes. I don't do any of that sort of stuff. I was having this conversation with my daughter last night. She was telling me that she hits the snooze button about 3 or 4 times. I can't remember the last time I've hit the snooze button, because the alarm goes. In fact, in a lot of mornings I'm up before the alarm, because I'm into it, because I'm so
Jumping
excited.
Jack Flash.
Because I'm so excited to be able to go and do the thing that it is, my purpose, the thing that I want to be doing.
So yeah, spend more time with people that will lift you up rather than put you down, and be aware of what goes on in the family situation, because like Tony said, often people that are closest to you are people that will question what you're doing and not have the same focus of what you're doing. So yeah, we've got fans, we love them. Second point is, what are you actually telling yourself? I don't know how far we're into this conversation already, but what are you really telling? What's a self-talk? I actually spoke about this just after my run today that I did my 7Ks, saying that if I am, focused on my form, focused on my breathing, focused on speeding things up, and feeling good about myself, I'm going to probably run faster. If I'm focused on those little aches and pains and not feeling really well, and I didn't really get enough sleep last night, or whatever, like I had a long night or whatever it might be, then I'm going to be slower in my running. So that self-talk is going to be detrimental or be super positive for us.
Yeah, well, what you're focusing on, a couple of things. You're focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. So you don't want to have the niggles and the aches and the pains, etc. And so your RAS, we all have a reticular activating system which sits in the base of our brain, top of our spine. And what it does is it filters out the things that it thinks that you want. So there's so much going on. So if you want to think about all the negativity, you will find negativity everywhere you look. If you want to think about positivity, then you will find positivity everywhere you look. So for you in that instance, you're focusing on what you want. What you want is your form, is the fluency of your running, your style, etc. I'm focusing on the process. And so rather than focusing on the end result, you know that if I focus on this next step that I do and my arm movement, then I know that if I do that for 7 kilometres in succession, I'm going to run a good time. And so it's about focusing on what you want, not what we don't want. We tend to focus on what we don't want. So go back to the topic, which is around fear. We focus on, what if this falls over?
What if I do trip over?
What if I trip over?
Hashtag Shelley.
What if I injure my hamstring? What if this property deal doesn't make money? What if I lose all my cash? What if it doesn't get the growth? Sure, you could think like that, but the other way to think about it is, well, how do I make it make money? How do I make the right decision that's going to be successful for me? How do I ensure that I capitalise on the growth? What are the things that I want in my future? It's about flipping your thinking into a forward direction. You always want to think forwards, not backwards. Forwards, that is, towards where you want to go, what you want. That's the whole idea of thoughts become things. You want to sit there and think about fear, well, now you're bringing all that fear in the thoughts of fear into your world, and that's all you're going to have, and you're going to be paralysed. You're not going to be able to do anything, as opposed to focusing on what do I want. Doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, doesn't mean that it's going to be without fear. Fear is our mind saying, trying to keep you safe. The mind has one role, it's survival, it's safety. That's the idea of fear. But all of us have to move forward. If you want it bad enough, you have to put one step in front of the other.
Take a little bit of risk. So you've got to smash down the fear, and then elevate the risk.
I remember the first time that I signed my very first property development project back in 2016, and honestly, my hand, I needed someone to hold my hand because the pen in my hand was literally, it was like out of control. And my heart rate, had I have had a heart rate monitor, I reckon I would have been about 180 beats a minute easily, and just sitting sedentary, and so that's the reality. But I thought to myself, my goal is bigger. I have a financial freedom goal. I'm not happy in my job. I need to replace my income. How do I do that? Property development was my chosen vehicle, and I signed the piece of paper, and have gone on to sign others as well. But my point is, at that very first time, can I swear here?
Yeah.
I was shitting myself, absolutely, positively shitting myself. But I had to do it. I had to do it because my reason was bigger than that moment.